'Twas the nights before Christmas. Despite last-minute stress, few were delivering except Walmart Express.
Stockings were hung by the fireplace with care, knowing in about an hour stuffers would soon be there.
On to the road, Walmart Express delivery went. Chock full of wondrous things in the St. Nick of time sent. Let's go!
Get express delivery in as fast as an hour, even on Christmas Eve. Orders must be placed by 4 p.m. local time on 12/24. Subject to availability. Fees and restrictions apply.
Express delivery to y'all and to all a good night. Welcome to your Walmart.
This episode is brought to you by AWS. Amazon Q Business is the generative AI assistant that can securely understand your business data, summarize results, and streamline tasks. Learn what Amazon Q Business can do for you at aws.com/learn more.
Money decisions don't have to be either or. With Bank of America, they can be yes and. Like yes to sunny vacations and rainy day funds. Can our digital tools and guidance help you create the future you want? Yes. And help you keep enjoying today, too. Do more with a bank that asks, what would you like the power to do? Explore our tips and more at bankofamerica.com/yes and.
The Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid is about performance, not just on the road, but in life, where the only speed that matters is how fast you can slow down. Performance where it matters the most. Visit volvocars.com/US.
Hey, everybody, it's Dave here from Vikings First and Skol, and I've got gathered around me all my friends today from the NFC North. Week 15 is in the books. Week 16 is on its way. And boy, have we got tales to tell. And it all starts here. In the frozen north, where legends grow, 3 teams battle in ice and snow. Lions proud, their streak now done, as the Bills claim victory, 48-41. The Packers rose in emerald might against Seattle's Hawks in Sunday night. Love threw his passes true and strong as 30-13 proved Seattle wrong. But hark, the Vikings saga rings. Their 7th victory spread purple wings. 30-12, they crushed the Bears that day, while Darnold led them on their way. 3 Titans now share glory's crown, 12 wins, 2 losses written down. Lions, Vikings, Eagles all tied for first, though Detroit leads by victory's thirst. Now forward to battles new in Soldier Field with skies of blue. The Lions face the Bears again, while the Vikings west to Seattle reign. And there upon the frozen tundra fair, the Packers host the Saints with flair. In Monday night's snow, the stars, to write new legends near and far. Who will be king? The tale's not done. 3 games remain till victory's won. In the great north where legends dwell, only time will surely tell. Let the battles begin. And we're back. It's Wednesday, and it's Vikings First and Skol's turn to host the Fans First Sports Network's NFC Roundup show, Who Will Be King? And I wish to welcome, like I said, my friends from the NFC North to another great week of black and blue football. And to introduce them, on the viewer's left, we have Pay from the Bear Claw podcast of the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans Network's channel of shows. Pay, how you doing today?
Shitty, Dave. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, actually. 12-2, baby. 12-2. But hey, I'm maybe pull it out this week, get that bounce that we've all hoped for. But we'll talk about our game here in a bit. So, and in the middle from Detroit, the city that brought you the classic automobile and some of the best music ever made, we have June and Foster from Bleachers to Speakers. Fellas, how you doing today?
I'm great. How you doing, man? Good to be here once again. Pay.
Good.
It'll be okay, Pay. It'll be okay.
Foster, how you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain.
You sure?
Wouldn't help none.
All right. Well, let's start off the show. Before I ask some pointed questions, let's start off the show with the game or Week 15 recap. Pay, do you want to start it off? How'd your team do?
Well, no, you know what? It's your program, Dave. I always acquiesce to the host. I think most of the people watching the show love to get the rosy opinion of the purple people leader, God himself. Dave, I will back clean up on this.
All right. First off, your Minnesota Vikings, my Minnesota Vikings. The fans here's Minnesota Vikings absolutely dominated at home for our winter whiteout game, which was quite the spectacular, against the Chicago Bears. It seems that some of the players on the Bears have given up. It's as simple as that. Others played hard. The defense was still good, caused problems, but it was what it was. We won by 18 points, which was okay. Not bad. We're still behind the Lions when it comes to the division lead because of they beat us the first game. We'll wait till week 18 to just settle that, most likely. Keys to the game were Aaron Jones, pardon me, Vikings fans. Aaron Jones had 86 yards on the ground, ran rather well, 106 total, and he had a rushing touchdown. He came to play, especially in the third quarter, I think it was, late in the third, where we had an Aaron Jones drive. We started out the first half throwing 40 plays, and 30 of them were passes. Well, we changed that up in the second half, and he had a nice clock-eating drive, results in a score. Sam Darnold was slightly off on the day. He was only 24 for 40, and 24 of 40 attempts thrown, and it just seemed a little off, but the defense came to play. The game was a story of third downs. The Vikings defense held the Bears 1 for 12 on third down attempts. The Vikings offense, on the other hand, which was usually put in long third down situations because of either the Bears or them shooting themselves in the foot with stupid self-inflicted penalties, was 7 of 12 on third down. It wasn't, and that was the key to the game, was the third down. So we'll see how it goes. It ended up, Jonathan Grenard had a strip sack, but the biggest moment probably in Pay's memory is when Jihad Ward came through and absolutely laid the wood to Caleb Williams. Caleb got the ball off. I don't remember if he completed the pass or not, but he got the ball off. But he absolutely laid the wood, hit him in the chest. And then we see Caleb Williams laying almost dead on the turf. It had to hurt. Now, first question to pay is, we didn't see any Bears players come to check on him. What's up with that pay?
What's up with that? That is a good question. I believe just the whole locker room is just fractured right now. I think everybody's just checked out mentally. Everybody's making their plans for January Tulum appointments and Bali excursions and everything like that while the game is still going on. Right? No matter. I mean, never mind that Caleb is laying on the ground after getting blasted in the back repeatedly like he's Ricky running down the alley and Boys in the Hood. Never mind all that, right? So I don't really know how to answer that question, Dave.
Well, we later saw him laying down on the bench, or trying to lay down, and that made the thumbnail. Is that normal behavior for an NFL quarterback?
Yeah. If all I've ever seen with Chicago Bears quarterbacks, that is very normal behavior. They've always getting blown up and they got to go stretch out on the bench after getting ransacked and thrown around like a discarded toy that a 5-year-old has. I don't think it's unnormal.
What are you hoping comes out of the game? You've already fired your head coach. You've got an interim head coach. What do you hope comes from the result of the game?
The game that just happened on Monday?
Either now or later at the end of the season.
I hope Caleb, the result that I hope happens is I hope Caleb Williams makes it out of the game, doesn't end up in triage. That's the result that I can hope for. Other than that, I just hope that the game is speedy.
Okay. Well, what was your take on the game?
Oh, geez, Dave.
I have yet to watch the rant videos, so just keep that in mind. I'm all ears to hear the rant.
Well, I mean, you gave a great soliloquy for everybody that watched the game, so I'm not going to bog anybody down on the nuts and bolts and what happened in the third quarter, the first quarter, anything like that. Every football fan watches Monday Night Football because why not? It's football. So Monday night, Mondays suck other than football. So I'm not going to go over those details that I know everyone saw. But I'll tell you what stuck out to me, Dave. No, it wasn't the sacks that you mentioned. No, it wasn't the flags that you mentioned. It wasn't even the drops or the boneheaded plays from our backup guard, who's, again, playing a running back position for God knows why. Wasn't none of that. You know what it was?
What?
Towards the end of the game, the cameras flashed up into the executive suites, and they showed the general manager of the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, sitting in the booth looking annoyed at the product now on the field. But then they went to the other side of the field, executive suites for the Minnesota Vikings, and they saw your general manager. Pronounce his name for me.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Kwesi
Adofo-Mensah.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Let me say that 3 times fast. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Adolfo. I'm sorry. Don't
probably going to be the executive of the year.
Sounds like a superhero.
He looked like one Monday night. While he was preening in that executive suite, smiling down at his 11-2, soon to be 12-2 team, as they destroyed the ops, as they destroyed the villain. He did look like a very pleased Iron Man standing over a defeated villain who just ain't got the right tech, right? And that's what the Bears are. The defeated villain of the NFC North who ain't got the right tech. They're the Justin Hammer to everybody else's Tony Stark. That's a little nerd reference. Don't mind me.
Hey, I don't.
They showed him. You're here, Dave. They showed him smiling and looking content at the product he got, and you know what? That's what stood out to me. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was hired 3 years ago. True or false, Dave?
True.
True. Same offseason that Ryan Poles was hired.
True.
They should have been able to do the same. They should have been able to. They may not achieve the same level of success, but get the same amount of work done.
True.
Anybody disagree? All right. But for some reason, Ryan Poles has yet to begin on whatever job that he was hired to do. Adolfo-Mensah, he's sitting back. He's got flex time. He's got plenty of time. He got time to kill because he's well excelled at his position.
Well, you got to remember, Kwesi was given an ultimatum when we hired him that he kept everybody from the Zimmer-Spielman regime to make sure that it was Spielman and Zimmer that were the problem. And we went, 13-4 that season to prove that, yes, it was. He had a poor draft, poor, worst in probably our history. But he didn't start his stuff. He didn't get the permission to go ahead and start his stuff until the next year.
Oh, so you're telling me he even had a late start and he arrived at 12-2 this year?
Affirmative.
What the? I mean, I curse your program. What is Ryan Poles' excuse? That's what stood out to me in this game. I'm watching 3 hours of football and I was annoyed the entire time until that part. That part of the game is what really piqued my curiosity. What are you looking at that's annoying you, man? What, Ryan Poles, what you mad about? This is the product that you wanted. This is the roster that you wanted. You're the one that drafted Jaquan Brisker while Cam Jurgens was still on the board. Cam Jurgens hasn't missed a start for the Philadelphia Eagles since he got drafted. Not a start. The Bears, how many centers do you think the Bears have had in Ryan Poles' tenure? Don't worry about the answer. I got it for you. 4. 4 centers in 3 seasons. Cam Jurgens hasn't missed a start. Ryan Poles, you're the one that drafted Tyreek Stevenson while the number 1 center was still on the board the following draft. John Michael Schmitz for the Giants will look really good in Chicago right now, Dave. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a serious issue up the gap of the center.
You do?
Yet one of many issues on that roster. He's the one, Ryan Poles, drafted Velus Jones Jr. This is in successive drafts, 3rd draft now. He drafted Velus Jones Jr., who, by all intents and purposes, should not be in the league. He drafted him in the 3rd round while the right tackle, the current right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks, was still on the board. We can use a tackle, Dave.
Yeah, you can.
We can use 2 of them. But it wasn't important to Ryan Poles at that point. So I'm wondering, what you mad about? What are you looking at that's upsetting you? This is what you wanted. You had the most cap room in 2 consecutive off seasons. And what did you do with it? You took the worst and the cheapest running back available this past free agent period. Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, all look great in their new homes. DeAndre Swift, he had a great game Monday, but he ain't one of them. I don't know why that was your first move when you had litany of other things you need to be concerned with. But that's only one thing. You're the one that opted for Kevin Byard in his 30s, fantastic center, and back in his heyday, while Xavier McKinney was still available. You opted to let the Packers get Xavier McKinney instead of you going to get him when we needed a safety. You're the one that traded a 5th round pick for Buffalo's backup center. You're the one that let Danielle Hunter get away from the Vikings and go right on down to Houston and enjoy bucket loads of their money and stripper and adult entertainment. It's that you couldn't do that in Chicago. What's wrong with Chicago? Why couldn't you do that in Chicago? You're the one that let the Vikings fix that hole they had at pass rusher with Houston's. leaving free agent. Jonathan Grenard. You know who Jonathan Grenard, right? He's the one that blew up Caleb's back on more than one occasion. You're the one that drafted a wide receiver, another wide receiver in the first round, instead of, I don't know, getting another lineman. Dallas Turner. Hello. Did he make an appearance on Monday? Yes, he did. He also sat on Caleb's face.
Whoa. Hey,
T-bagged him.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Dave. Yes, he did. Now, you know me.
This is a children's show.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, Dave. This is. I don't mean to rant on your
not up
program,
my
Dave.
channel.
I don't mean to rant on your program, Dave. I don't mean to get all upset, but you know me. I'm never mad at someone who putting the block on. But Ryan Poles takes the Chicago Eli's cheesecake and putting the block on. He should run for governor of Illinois with all the no-show jobs he gave out. I am
fans are loving
astounded. I am astounded at his amazement of the job that he did. I am confused. I am befuddled. Someone give me a thesaurus so I can find more words to describe how amazed I am and how amazed he is that the Bears are terrible. I don't get it. Kevin Warren, please take me out of my misery. Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you do me a favor, Pay? Can you give me a couple more sentences of this? I need this for, my audience there. Come on. I got something for you. I got something lined up for you. Just give me something.
I can prep you. Hey, my fans are saying it's not necessarily Poles' issue. And they were correct in saying that we offered Poles the job first. He turned it down to go to Chicago, which is fine. Cool with that. But that is the ownership's problem. How is the ownership restricted Poles and prior to that, Eberflus? Is it an ownership problem?
Well, the ownership of the Chicago Bears, you all know, Virginia McCaskey, she still owns the team, passed down from her father, George Halas, legendary owner of the Chicago Bears, one of the architects of the International Football League. But for me to really answer that question in truth, you really don't know. Obviously, you cut the head off of the snake to kill the snake, right? You can lay a lot of the problem right there. For me, in particular, I laid a lot of problem with the president, the longtime president that we just replaced. So I assumed that we would be better now that we got Kevin Warren in charge. But the ownership of the Chicago Bears is not very vocal. They lay in the shadows like a serpent. I did say snake, right? They lay in the shadows like a serpent. They lay in the shadows like Cobra Commander, like an evil villain of a 1980s children's cartoon show. They're like Decepticons. They just sit in the back. They don't say anything, but you see them. But you see them when everything's going bad, and you can't tell if they're pleased or upset. They're just there. George McCaskey, the son of Virginia McCaskey, he's de facto. He's the CEO of the Bears right now. And he has not been good ever since he took over. I believe he's in his 15th season, something around there. The Bears haven't been good under his watchful eye, under his eye. I can't wait for that show to come back on Hulu. If you know, you know. But under his watchful eye, the Bears have not been good, Dave. So if anybody was to blame the ownership, you're not wrong. You wouldn't be wrong.
Okay. I think Kevin Warren has a bit to contribute to it as well. How you guys have organized that whole thing over in Chicago and who runs what and how decisions are made is a little strange to me.
Yes, to me as well, Dave. Everything that the Bears do is strange and weird. I want them to get strange and weird in the win column one day before I get too old. But we're only We're under 90 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting, so I can't be too upset.
Well, and if that's the case, you're also under 90 days from hopefully getting a new head coach. There was a question, who would you like?
Who would I like as head coach? If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said give Thomas Brown the job. He's the interim head coach right now. Why not? He's got he looked like he was good offensive coordinator. Why not give him a good shot? He's been even worse in the 2 games since he's taken over as HNIC. So no, I don't think he's leading that charge. I still think Ben Johnson should be the number one name on the wish list. Maybe even Bobby Slowett down there in Houston. See, another Houston name. Why has Houston got all our guys that we should have? I don't know. Maybe we fix some of this offseason. But to be fair, just because you were good in a subservient role, let me not say subservient, but in a lesser role than head coach, does not mean you will be a great head coach. They need to come in here and sell it. They need to have good interview skills. And hopefully, Kevin Warren, who all intents and purposes should be the one making this decision, because I don't think Ryan Poles should be charged or trusted to make any more decisions. I just ran down a rant for you, Dave. I just ran down a rant for you that why Ryan Poles should not be trusted. He had all this money. He won the lotto and went to go shop at Dollar General. Don't give him any more choices. He got to keep him away. In fact, if you just say, hey, Ryan, why don't you stay home for the holidays? In fact, don't come back. I wouldn't be mad. Treat him like Craig on Friday. Fire him on his day. Because it feel like he ain't been working all year anyway.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is over on my side of the house, we've heard, obviously, Brian Flores. But Brian Flores was interviewed in that coaching cycle by you guys and was turned down. So he may decline even if he's offered. But I'm also hearing Josh McCown, our quarterback's coach.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. For both of those two names you said. I like Brian
Flores for you guys.
Yes, and that's exactly why he cannot. I go ahead and answer that one right there. Josh McCown, you're not welcome back to Chicago. But Brian Flores, excellent coach. You saw what he did in Miami. He can make paella out of canned noodles. So I mean, I believe that he's pretty good coach. What we don't need is Brian Flores' track record with young quarterbacks. Don't need that. We don't need Brian Flores calling our young quarterback trash. We don't need that. We don't need to play with their confidence. Let's just let's keep that moving.
Even with his 50 shades of fingernail polish.
You got to take the polish. You got to take the fingernail polish with the guy.
Okay,
it's a package deal, Dave.
All right, I believe you. It's got to be, and that's going to be part of when you guys go through the coaching search and hiring. That coach is willing to take on Caleb Williams as his charge, because he's not going to be able to draft anybody immediately and say, "Hey, no, Caleb's the previous guy. You guys drafted him number one. You're going to keep him and get all the money out of him." At least I would think. But anyways, well, let's go to the second game of last week that we have here right now. June, what happened to your Detroit Lions?
Well, slow start by the offense, no start by the defense. In a nutshell, it was just no defense. The defense did not play a single quarter of good defense, and the offense started off slow. Josh Allen was magnificent. They exploited a weakness that no teams had ever shown, hadn't shown all week, with the passes out of the backfield. And they did a marvelous job offensively. We were fighting and scrapping from behind all game. The score was 48-42, but it wasn't as close as the score says. I mean, it was just we were taken to the woodshed. Nothing else.
Gotta give it. Goff threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the problem wasn't the offense, except for starting slow. I mean, how often do you see a quarterback throw for 5 touchdowns and lose? It just doesn't happen. It happened Sunday, though.
Foster, what else happened against the Bills?
Well, I mean, first off, Goff's got a remarkable stat of winning with 5 interceptions and losing with 5 touchdowns. That's had to have never happened before. But yeah, Josh Allen did a great job of creating opportunities for them with off schedule, running out of the pocket and creating more opportunities for the receivers to get loose in our defensive backfield. The running backs were out there running receiver routes. Like just when you thought that it was going to be Amari Cooper or Hollins or Keon Coleman, it was one of their running backs, and that was one of the weaknesses that the Bills came into the game experiencing. So that was a intentional game plan, I feel like, for them, knowing that we have at least 4 or 5 linebackers injured at this current moment, and we weren't able to run the ball. We weren't able to run the ball at all. They controlled the time of possession. They kept their quarterback out there more than our quarterback, and they won pretty handedly. This is a well-coached team. They were able to force a turnover, which was a pretty detrimental one, considering we spent the entire game behind. And like June said, we kind of clawed back and made it look close, but we had to pull out all the stops to even get it to that point. Onside kicks and onside kicks, where the worst possible thing that could happen happened, where Mac Hollins tipped it to himself and nearly ran from a touchdown on an onside kick, which is such a rare feat that you see something like that. But we were due for a loss pretty soon. We played some tough games against the Bears and against the Packers, and so it was a matter of time before our good fortune ran out. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, himself said that it was better that we took this loss now as opposed to later on in the year when it's going to mean more. So salute to the Buffalo Bills. They are a team that we may have to see down the line in the Super Bowl, if we get that far or if they get that far. But they let us have it as they have done historically as in recent history.
Okay. Now, both of you skipped over one of the hot topics.
The onside kick.
I want to know about that stat that Foster mentioned with Goff in the 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Well,
he threw 5 versus Houston and won, and threw 5 touchdown passes versus the Bills and lost. Go figure.
I thought you said he wins games with 5 interceptions. I thought that's what you said.
No. He won. The Texans game. He won
5 interceptions. He won versus the Texans with 5 interceptions. That's what he was referring to.
Mm-hmm. Now,
that's a weird stat, right?
Hey, 12-2.
But what your team reminds me of is some old Viking squads under Denny Green. And we used to give him the nickname Any Green because he didn't believe in a D. It's as good as Dennis Green was.
They never had it.
All the attention went to the offense. He felt he
John Randall. Yeah, John Randall, right?
Oh, we had good defenders. Yes. But he felt if he could score every single drive, and literally, and if the defense held up for one drive, the Vikings would win. That was the philosophy. That should become your philosophy here on out, because you didn't lose one player. You didn't lose 2 players. You didn't lose 3 players against Buffalo. You lost 4.
Yeah.
With most of them being starters.
But Carlton Davis.
Aleem McNeil.
Aleem McNeil.
Oh, Khalil Dorsey.
And on the offense?
Oh, you talking about David Montgomery, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that make for the defense now? 17, 18, 21 on IR, some BS.
I quit counting after a while, man.
Yeah, that I was gonna say I no longer counting.
I think it's 17 or 18. It's the number. Now, Vikings went through that in 2016. We started out 6-0. Everything was looking great. And then suddenly the injury bug, all the offensive line died. Just, they absolutely died. And we brought in the backups and they died. And then we went on to 7-11 and got a few more and they died. And it was just horrible.
Let me say this, Dave. Before anything went bad, we were losing people when we were winning. So we're not going to use that as an excuse. We lost people in week 3, week 4, and week 5, and we were winning. So I'm not going to sit up here and say, hey, we got all these injuries. That's why we're losing. That's why we're not playing well, this, that, and other. Because there were times when we were playing well and we still had injuries. So it's next man up. It's next man up.
When that last final straw breaks the camel's back, as the old saying goes.
Well, we just
it could happen this week against Chicago.
No, it's not going to.
You would hope so, right?
And I'd hope.
Don't do that. Hey, look, Dave. Look. Yeah, all right. You've seen that team. Come on, man.
I know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, there was one more game in the division last week. And of course, that's the Packers versus the Seahawks in Seattle. Packers wearing their whiteout uniforms, which, anyway. Packers defeated the Seahawks 30-13, which was a shame. Geno Smith got hurt. However, it looks like he's going to play this week. Jordan Love wasn't great. 20 for 27 throws, 229 yards, 2 TDs. Romeo Doubs had 2 TDs, which was good for them. Josh Jacobs, 94 yards, 1 TD. Obviously, running the ball is important. But we'll see. Did any of you guys watch that game? None of our games were on at the same time.
I had it on TV.
Okay, that's about what I did. The Sea Chickens were in their, highlighter green uniforms. And it was what it is. And I was trying to pre-scout and hope the Seahawks would have won, but nope. So that still keeps, unfortunately, it clinched for us that day. That was Saturday. So we didn't, or Sunday. So we didn't have to win on Monday. However, we had to win on Monday.
Shouldn't have.
And, but it is what it is. So that was week 15. And it's time for a quick break. And we'll go on from there.
Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
All right, we're back, and we appreciate those listening on podcast that got to listen to our wonderful sponsors. They keep us in beverage money, whether it be beer, whiskey, or whatever our favorite flavor is of the month. So now I got a question for June and Foster. Why is it that your fans are so obsessed, at least across social media, with a 12-2 team that they say sucks, i.e. the Vikings?
Oh, you're saying that we're obsessed with you guys?
Your fan base is. I see it on Twitter. I see it on Facebook.
What are you seeing now? I'm not seeing anything. What are you seeing?
Well, they throw up the strength of victory, and they go, here's 3 teams with 12-2 records, and one is not the same as the other. They're complaining that the Vikings haven't played anybody, just a bunch of 500 teams, meh, etc. You know, my deal is, hey, we didn't make the schedule. You know, we're just winning.
Well, so, I don't see that. I mean, and I don't believe that. I mean, you play who you play. I mean, you if you're taking care of business, or who you're taking care of business, no matter if you're taking care of what you're supposed to take care of, you're supposed to win. So, I don't see that. I mean, like, I don't see that from my peers. Maybe it's the fan base that you're seeing, but not amongst my peers. I mean, you 12-2 is a respectable record.
Twitter is a weird place.
I'd have to shoot it. It's one of the Silver and Blue podcast, whatever, something or other. I'd have to shoot you the tweet.
Yeah, never heard of them.
Yeah, I never heard of them either. But are they
on Fans First Sports Network?
Do what?
Are they on Fans First Sports Network?
Of course not.
Oh, I only listen to Fans First Sports Network.
That's us. That's us. We're the only ones that represent the Lions on, Fans First. But it's just like I'm sure there's people in this room that think the Lions are not for real because of that loss and because of the last loss. And they probably believe that we'll give up 40 points a game, or they probably believe that, we'll probably don't believe we'll beat the Bears. So that's just one of those things that happens, man. It is what it is. I mean, it's more wishful thinking if you're an opposed fan. Like, for instance, you will have some Lions that say the Vikings aren't for real, and they have to say that for comfort, I guess. Just like people are going to say, oh, you're going to lose to the Bears next week, or you're going to give up 40 points, that type of stuff. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I shouldn't ask you, June. You're too much of a level head on this, but it does.
You'll never see me upset at 12-2, Dave.
But it does.
We're the Lions. We're used to these horrible seasons, and these terrible things happen during the season.
Well, that's just it. It seems to be newer fans that over the last couple of years, because you've been good, are now feeling their oats.
I don't understand. You know what? And it's like, Foster gave me an example one time where there was a kid when that said, "Oh, the Lions used to be bad." They didn't experience this younger generation doesn't have. I mean, suddenly everybody's paying attention to football here in Detroit. Everybody is, because of what's happened the past 2 seasons. But they weren't around when we were 0-16 and losing to the Packers, Bears, and Vikings every majority of the game, a majority of the season when when, in conference play and stuff like they didn't notice that. So now it's like it's kind of like they're oblivious to the past now that we're having recent success. But when you've seen it all, you don't get too high or you don't get too down about it. You just, okay.
I find it amusing because, we've all been through, well, we haven't quite all been through. We haven't all been that bad for that long, but
we've been worse than everybody in the division for a lot longer.
A long time. And this is a miraculous season for you guys. It is literally the best in franchise history. You'd have to go back to like 1936 or something like that, 1934, almost 100 years ago, to match what you guys are doing this year. It's amazing. So,
but the success is very recent. But however, it's only been over a span of 2 consecutive years. Like for me to get any kind of comfortability or arrogance, it has to sustain a lot longer because I've endured a lot worse a lot longer than this. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll just let you know. I'll start feeding you some of the things I'm seeing, but it's interesting. Now,
yeah, I mean, for me, you gotta respect the 12-2 team in professional football. You don't look at their schedule. You have to respect it. Any given Sunday, you can lose or win or lose, no matter who it is. So to be 12-2, whether it's your team or someone else's team, you gotta respect it. You got to.
Yeah, and we've been
especially when.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/MBO. Terms and conditions apply.
At respect. Oh, damn.
Faucet's frozen.
You good.
Keep talking.
Yeah, we're in the same division, so we play the same teams twice a year, and then we all play the AFC South this year, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a couple outliers, I guess, and I don't know. I haven't paid
by how you finished last year.
Yeah, and that and the fact that, and now some of these new fans may not be used to the fact that you finish well the year before, you play a little bit of a tougher schedule. That's the way it goes for, that's how they keep parity going on in the league. So, a lot of these people watch box scores. They don't watch the games. They're not really paying attention to the analytics. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it to really make educated opinions. And the thing about Twitter being free and all the other social medias is that anybody can get on there and state an opinion. You don't have to have any type of credentials to do so. So that's that.
Yep. You are correct. And it's interesting. If you look at the point differential plus, you guys have absolutely blown the league out of the water this year. So, and we're up there. We're just under 120 so far. But yeah,
we still have
something like
we still have the most competitive conference in the NFL.
And the Bears division.
Yeah, the Bears have lost some very, very close games. They're very competitive, no matter win or lose. I know you don't want to hear that, Pay, but I'm just saying, as from a competitive standpoint, except for the last game, they've been a play or two away from winning the game, or you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. It is. And if they get the right leadership and some better player choice, and maybe they can turn it around.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year. I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Yeah.
Pay would.
I wish them luck, except for on Sunday.
And when they play us. Yes.
Yeah. I don't wish them luck Sunday at all.
Okay.
Keep that same energy.
All right. Let's get into week 16. I'll go first off. The Monday nighter is the Saints at the Packers. It is 7:15 kickoff on ABC and ESPN. I think we're going to get all of them on ABC from here on out. Lambeau Field, weather is forecast to be 30 degrees, cloudy, breezy with some snow. They're playing the Saints. I hope the Saints pull their heads out of their posteriors and pull something out and shock the world.
It's
not going to happen.
I don't see it.
The Pack is favored by 14. 2 full touchdowns. Mm-hmm.
Saints just, they don't have it this year. It's just, they started off smoking. They just,
I knew that wasn't gonna last.
You said it though. You said it wasn't going.
They were on a historic pace. Not just smoking. Their first 2 games were historic. I think if you stretch it back to last season, they had 4 out of the last 5 games. They had scored over 40, and they had like over 450 yards of total offense in each of those games. Yeah, so the regression to the mean was going to happen, and it happened a lot for like 7 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm. So it is. We can hope. We can hope. Anyways, go to the next game, week 16. I'm going to go Sunday afternoon. Vikings versus Seahawks in Seattle. We travel out there, and they are fighting to win their division, their playoff hopes. We're obviously fighting to keep winning. The weather is forecast to be 52 with on and off rain. Typical December day in Seattle. We are favored by 3 going in. Should be an interesting game. You guys got any opinions on it? Nope.
I think it's a tough game. I don't think Seattle. You never know with Seattle. They're not consistent. When they look good, they look really good, and when they're not, they're just not. They're just bad. Minnesota's been pretty consistent all year round. They jump on teams early, and they just keep teams away at near the end for the most part. So I don't see the Vikings losing. I just don't. Seattle's just not consistent enough.
Well, I agree. Let's see what happens. Now,
I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're at the level that the Minnesota Vikings are. They might be the best team in their division, but you step up in weight classes when you play the NFC North, minus the Chicago Bears. They can play, the beat up Niners. They can play the heckle and jive Cardinals. They can play the LA Rams. They played them tough. Like they've beaten all 3 of them this season, I think. Right. But the Vikings, I think that's a little bit above their weight class. They're punching above their weight in that game. Even if Geno plays, he's not going to be at 100%. I don't think Kenneth Walker's going to play. He didn't play the last 2 weeks, I think. Even though Zach Charbonnet's a pretty good fill-in, a pretty good RB2, probably one of the top 5 RB2s in the league, he's not Kenneth Walker. Not to say that Kenneth Walker is some sort of bell cow or all-pro running back, but just a little step down in talent. But their defense is pretty mid. I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's good. It's mid. If you know, you know. But I don't think the Vikings should struggle with that game on paper. Now, you know, football is football, and any given Sunday things could happen unless you're the Bears. So
well, they do happen to the Bears too.
No. It don't. It don't. we've had 8 consecutive Sundays, and none of them have been any. They've all been the same. I think Minnesota should win this game going away. I would say 30 to. If I was to say the Vikings win 30 to 17, 30 to 20, that wouldn't shock me whatsoever. A two score margin of victory.
Okay. We beat you by 3, so hopefully 2 scores should be enough. But yeah, but you transitioned perfectly into your game this weekend, Sunday at noon Central on Fox in Soldier Field. The wounded Detroit Lions will limp into your stadium. Do they have a chance to survive is the question. A wounded lion versus the Bears.
A diseased bear, maybe?
There's something going on with the bear. We can't just say that he's
yeah, if the lion's wounded, the bear is probably handicapped. Well, handicapped. Sorry. Do the Lions have a chance? Does a night walker in Vegas have a chance of making a lot of money? Yes. Wow. They do. I hope the Lions have more than a good chance. I'm still alive in 3 out of 4 fantasy leagues, and I hit the Lions pretty heavy, so I definitely need.
Don't sell out your team. No, don't.
The quicker we can get through these last 3 weeks, the better, Joe. The quicker we can get the quicker we get the Black Monday, the happier all.
I hear you, man.
Foster, have you done your pregame work yet? How do you view this game against Chicago in Chicago?
I mean, I'm not sleeping on the Bears at all. I know they play us tough, whether they're in Ford Field or in Soldier Field.
Every year? I say every year?
Yeah, absolutely. They beat us pretty handedly in Soldier Field last year. So, you know, we're definitely the key for us is going to be converting on 3rd down and in the red zone. That's what kept them in the game last game. Although we had them scoreless going into the second half last game, they held us to a couple field goals. So it gave them an opportunity to get comfortable. DJ Moore had a good game. Keenan Allen had, I think, 2 touchdowns last game. And we're going to have to find a way to control the time of possession without our power running back, as, they're very familiar with David Montgomery. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be shouldering a much bigger job for the next couple of weeks as we make that adjustment. So Sam Laporta had 2 short yardage touchdowns last week in the red zone, and we're definitely going to lean on our tight end production this time around as well. So I think we can pull out a game in Chicago, but it's going to be tough. But this is an important game for us because we can't lose 2 straight. Minnesota is really, really catching their stride. I think they won like 7, 8 games in a row. So yeah. So this is a game that we can't let slip away. And we got to get to Caleb. We had 5 sacks last game. Not last game, against on Thanksgiving last time we played the Chicago Bears, and we'll be without Aleem McNeil for the rest of the year. So he's been a real pivotal player for us.
Side of that defensive line. Oh yes,
absolutely.
Also, I'd like to see Gibbs with an increased role. He's going to get more touches. He doesn't have to split carries. He's a very dangerous back. I don't see the offensive production going down too far because we have 2 very good backup running backs with Craig Reynolds and Vaki. And I don't think the offense misses a beat. I don't think and then like I said, we're intact as offensively and we can score. Defensively, we just have to see what we can do as far as Caleb heated up in the second half. And, as long as we keep him under wraps, we should win this game. But, the Bears are to be respected. I joked earlier, but they're still a respectable team. They played tough all season long. So a couple of, Pay doesn't want to hear it, but we can go to we can talk block field goals, Hail Marys, and stuff like that they've had where they could have very well won.
There's quite a few games that could have made them on the plus 500 side of the ledger. Now, is the weather going to be a problem for you guys? It's going to be 29 degrees and partly cloudy.
It's not going to snow this week in Chicago, so it still should be a fairly clear day for both offenses. Speaking of both offenses, the Bears have one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. They've been terrible since week 1 against the rush, and now we have just Jahmyr Gibbs to worry about, somebody who can outrun any able-bodied tackler that the Bears throw at him. Not looking too positive for that matchup in there. In fact, anytime you have a rushing prop against the Bears defense, you should probably hit that. You should probably hit that with confidence, right? In fact, 3 unit. It's a 3-unit bet. As far as the Bears passing defense versus Goff, like I did say, the weather shouldn't be an issue. It's gonna be a little cold. 29 degrees ain't the coldest thing in the world. So, California kid out of Goff, he might have an issue with that for a little while, but I don't think it's too much to worry about. 29 is not the coldest thing if you ever played in or been outside to worry about. That's hoodie weather.
St. Brown's from Cali too. We got a lot of Cali guys out there.
Yeah, that's
Florida guys.
That's those are two football powerhouse states. So I'm pretty sure a lot of rosters in the NFL that are worth their.
Yeah, you're right.
Have a lot of Florida, Texas, Cali guys. I don't think the Bears have anybody from those states.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Ironic, I think not.
This guy here.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode. Pay, have you got a score prediction for us this week?
I actually do. I think the Lions should win this game. They shouldn't struggle to win this game. I think they can probably score somewhere in the neighborhood of 26 to 32 points. But I do think the Bears will actually not embarrass themselves and not put on a terrible show right before Christmas. I think they can actually cover that line. Let's say Detroit wins 29, Bears 24.
Okay. June, you got a prediction for the game?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lions 27-20.
Oh, close. Foster?
24-14. Lions.
Gotcha. And I'm going to pick my Vikings to win. No final score, but I suggest it's at least 10 points. So, victory. We'll go on from there. Pay, where can they find your wonderful rants on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, you can find me and all my colorful cast of frustrated Chicago sports fans at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans channel, available on YouTube and also on podcast form. Anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Pandora, anywhere you get podcasts, we are there. Also, the video format, as I said, YouTube, TikTok, while it's still illegal in this country, we're also there as well. Check it out. It's right where it sounds exactly. You type it out as it sounds. Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans.
And the link is in the description. Just to let everybody know. June and Foster, where can they find your work?
First of all, before I do that, I want to say, I appreciate all the Viking fans in the chat. I mean, just being interactive and commenting. I mean, you have a dope fan base and something that me and Foster look forward to building within our own. So appreciate that. But you can find us at Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Subscribe there and all the aggregators, Bleachers to Speakers, FFSN. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you have that alert button. The notification bell on. And so whenever we drop content, you'll be able to get a notification and download those episodes.
And you guys do more than do Lions football.
We do Lions football. We do Pistons basketball. We do Tigers baseball. And by next year, we'll be doing Red Wings hockey.
Yeah, buddy. Cool. Any last words there, Foster?
Let's hope that Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have food poisoning, or maybe we hope that he does, because he had a career game last week, despite the fact that we lost. So, that was crazy to find out that he was like throwing up before the game. And, but yeah, let's get back on the right path, get this W, and try to secure this home field advantage in the next few weeks.
At least to week 18.
Oh yeah,
at the very least.
Mm-hmm. So, Pay, what do we say in Chicago?
We say bear down, Dave.
As in, he's down, medic. Dude, what do you guys say?
We're the ones that need the medics.
Yeah.
And I do want to thank all our fans that watched today. Enjoyed. You guys have been great. And of course, on my side of the house, we say Skull Vikings. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been the Bear Claw Podcast. Bleachers to Speakers. Vikings First and Skull. And of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.